When was the last time you met a guy who could almost fill a hand with Super Bowl rings? Well, tonight you can. We welcome home Eric Wright. He played on 4 Super Bowl championship teams with the San Francisco 49ers. But his life before that was grounded here in southern Illinois and Columbia, Missouri. Eric was born in St. Louis and grew up in east St. Louis, another one of the world-class athletes from that city. He's a product of Assumption High School. Then off to the University of Missouri. He was a 2-time All-Big 8 defensive back and a key member of 3 Tiger Bowl teams. The 49ers liked what they saw of this cornerback and picked him in the second round of the NFL Draft. He strapped on the Niners helmet from 1981 to 1990, and along with Ronnie Lott, became a celebrated pair of cornerbacks on a team that many consider to be the best in NFL history, a team that included Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and John Taylor. Eric was a mainstay on that team, a 2-time All-Pro, a Pro Bowl selection. In the NFC Championship game in 1982 against Dallas, Eric made a game-saving tackle on the Cowboys wide receiver Drew Pearson to preserve the win and help them to the Super Bowl. Eric had 18 regular season career interceptions and 3 more in the playoffs. He stayed in the Bay Area when he retired, and he's currently the alumni coordinator for the 49ers. We are proud to welcome home, along with his 4 Super Bowl rings, a Southern Illinois sports legend, Eric Wright. And tonight, he can add to his trophy case induction into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
Feels pretty good, huh? Well, I'm not a very emotional guy, but first of all, I'd like to congratulate all the inductees. It's an honor for me. This is coming back home. It's a real touchy moment to be able to go in with the likes of Brian Cox, Mr. Savage, Don Harper, Ray Fosse. I did my homework on this whole thing. And then I have one of my best friends, Mike. Today's world, I have to work, so I sell lumber every day. I'm on the computer, emailing, talking back to Jim. So I'm looking at the videos. Every video that they have of the inductees, or the former ones, I went over every one of them to learn a little bit about everybody who's been inducted into this. I didn't want to miss something. So, and the plan was for me, number one is, this is the first time, really, that I have had, and 2 of my sisters are not here, but predominantly, other than reunions, with the big family, this is the first time for the sports banquets for ever being in one place with my family. So, I always have to thank my mom and dad. The coaches, and first of all, we grew up in East St. Louis, and I went to a little small Catholic high school called St. Joseph, the grade school, from 1st through 8th grade. Chauncey Boyd, Mike Harrison, Louis McCoy, all those guys were kids that we grew up from 1st grade to 8th grade. We used to come up here, Fairview Heights, St. Albert the Great, St. Martin. You talking about teams back in the day, tournament teams, 1 through 8th grade playing St. Philip's, all those St. Cyril, St. Philip's, Holy Angels, all those parochial schools. It used to be a guy named Mr. Miller. He used to throw us in the old Rambler, okay? Going down 15th and St. Clair. He used to pick us up, take us to the hamburger stand. And the best thing that I've been blessed, It was kids that didn't have mom and dad. My mom and the coaches were their parents, and that's the reason why we're close today. And I hate to be redundant, but coming out of East St. Louis, that was the guiding light. We knew it was better. When you had the grades, was fortunate enough to be on teams, coaches, OC Hughes at the East St. Louis Boys Club, and Coach Foz, that was at Assumption back in the day, came up to modern day. They groomed us kids. We had to do it their way or we couldn't play. And my mom was the police at our house, okay? If I didn't do it or got in trouble in school, I got whoopings when I came home. Now, you can't do that. And from Coach Munkin, you know, Coach Perry, Coach Jimmy Adams, Coach Schott, and those guys, at Assumption High School, we were a 5-5 program. We couldn't play the Lincolns. We played the Lincolns and got blew out. We never played East Side. I remember I wanted to go to East Side so bad. My dad said, you go to East Side, you better get on your own payroll if you're going to East Side. Okay? Because I wanted to be with a running program, but what that instilled in Eric Wright was I hated to lose in anything. When we lost, I came home crying, and then I went back to work and trying to practice at night. But that instilled it in me, along with the guys at Assumption, and the inductee who was inducted for modern day. We used to go to the modern day tournament. It was like a barn fight up there. We could never win because when it was 2 seconds left in the game and they was on the free throw line, they were going to win the game. Okay, and that's the reason why the passion to win, the way to win for the 49ers. I hated losing football games. I hate losing in anything. And that's what drove us. And that's, you know, and the best thing about it is it made it easy. When you got great coaches, great athletes.
And at Mizzou, with Warren Powers, 3 bowl games. Greg mentioned earlier Howard Richards here, part of your draft class from Mizzou, first-round pick. And so there was winning there. You go to the 49ers, 4 Super Bowls in 10 years isn't bad. But I want to ask you about that. That 1981 team, you're a rookie, second-round pick. You come to training camp, and there hadn't been much winning before that with Bill Walsh, who had taken over the program a couple of seasons before. And you've got another rookie first-round pick in the defensive backfield. Not a bad player named Ronnie Lott. Another rookie in the backfield, another draft pick, Carlton Williamson. And then another guy who had been a rookie the year before, was cut by the Lions, signed as a free agent by the 49ers, Dwight Hicks. And here's this young backfield. And as I said in the video, it mentioned Joe Montana, it mentioned Jerry Rice, mentioned all these offensive guys. I think that defense, that rookie secondary, has always been overlooked in that 49ers winning because of all those great offensive players.
Well, it's just like Brian can attest, and Dana Hall, he's in the audience too, right? Dana Howard, I'm sorry. For us, January for the 49ers, we tried to label ourselves. Offense, Joe Montana, they gonna get their points. As long as we got the ball back to Joe in the offense, and another teammate of mine is in the audience. He's one of the four Super Bowl winners, Mike Wilson. And Mike can attest to this. Joe and the offense, they're going to get their points. We just have to minimize points for the opposing offense. If we can keep it close and stay in the game, at the end of the game, get the ball back to Montana in the offense, we were going to win if it was 2 minutes left in the game. And the blessing that I've had was we played with 5 Hall of Famers. Okay, Montana, Lott, and this is what made my Sundays easy. When you get a rush specialist like Fred Dean, I can make a mistake as long as we giving him 3 seconds to get to the quarterback. He's on the ground. The ball is in the air, so we're gonna do. If you're good players, you got to make a play. So we had to give those guys 2.5 minutes to get to the quarterback. That was their job. And that was the deal that we had. January, defense win championships. And as Brian can tell you, defense win championship.
We saw that last week.
Yeah.
What was it beyond the players that was so special about that 49ers organization? Everyone always says it starts at the top. And with the owner, Ed DeBartolo, he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There always seemed to be a real togetherness, a real camaraderie in that organization. And now you're an alumni coordinator. There's other 49ers doing that also. Guy McIntyre, Steve Bono, Jesse Sapolu. What was it that's special about the 49ers that started back then but still continues to this day?
Well, it started with DeBartolo. Mr. D, he's a very special owner. Number one is it's about family. He really paid attention to details. Bill Walsh, John McVay, that's where the whole dynamics of everything turned out to be successful. It's just a family-ran business. They were doing some really bright, different things in reference to getting players. Basically, it's in the free agency. We had Fred Dean come in, and we didn't have a sex specialist. So when he came, and spent the whole training camp from Detroit, we traded for him. And then when he came, defense was great. And even today, if a guy or his family, kids, or anything that Mr. D hears about, Mr. D, the first guy, he'll send his guy over there, hey, what you need? He'll send a card, kids, wives, anything. And the special thing is he does something every year. He lives in Montana now, so every guy, every employee throughout Youngstown, where his dad runs the company, they have an event in Montana. He takes over the whole town. This is like a big 4th of July party. And guess what? He flies everybody in there. It's on his dime. But the one thing we have a relationship not like one of he's the players. He's a respected family member.
What was it that was special about Bill Walsh as a head coach? And I do remember one story that he wanted to keep you guys loose. That '81 Super Bowl, you all show up at the hotel, and there's the bellman coming out to help everybody with his bags, and no one realizes who it is at first, but there's Bill Walsh dressed in a bellman's outfit at the front of the hotel.
Well, first of all, it reminded me of being here so cold in February. I hadn't been here in a while in February. Okay, so
yeah, that was Detroit.
But we get off the family bus, and he's dressed up in a bellman outfit. Nobody. He grabbed some of the guys' pulling their bags, and nobody knew who he was until, that's Bill. He was a guy that detail oriented, and I never realized, and when we got older toward 30 in football, you got toward the 8 to 10 year clip. If your production had slowed down, it was kind of like writing on the wall. You got to start transitioning to go into another team, or you got to find another job. And then our players on our team, we kind of didn't understand that, because he didn't want teams to be getting better younger players. So he got the old timers, you had to go. And guys were pissed off at him about that, because you still had some life in you. But he understood that, look, I got to turn this shop around. I got to get younger, better talent. And guys didn't, and you know what? Bill wasn't a very light guy. It was business. But we understood that as we got into coaching. Like Mike and Keena knows him real well. And it's about, don't take it personal, it's about business. And that's Bill was a very detailed guy, all business. Now, the coach that I dealt with on a day-to-day basis was George Seifert and Bill Walsh. George and I, we didn't get along, but we respected each other. George, and throughout all my athletic days, coaches knew that they could drive me to get production. And like I was talking to my brother-in-law, Mike Harrison, and I was telling my mom and dad at breakfast this morning, when we were coming up, we had to work so hard at practice, and when you made mistakes in the game, you would get a sort of kind of treatment that wasn't good. But you know what? It taught us that the mistakes was not allowed. Success and details, you correct the mistakes at practice, not in the game that's going to cost us win and losses.
Last thing for Eric Wright, who was referred to in the film clip, and everyone's seen the catch a million times, just like they've seen the catch for the Rams when Isaac Bruce helped win the Super Bowl, and everyone saw the tackle after that by Mike Jones. Your tackle isn't talked about a whole lot. Everyone thinks, Clark, who unfortunately we lost in the last year. Everyone thinks that the game was over at that point. Well, it wasn't. Cowboys started driving down the field. You made a big stop. What are your recollections of that play, and obviously how important it was to help preserve that victory?
Well, Eric Wright has always been a guy that it's never been about me. It's always been about the outcome of what we have done successfully as a team. Our offense, as long as they score points and touchdowns and get us out of holes that we can win championships, that play happened to be in the right play in the right time. It's just like in East St. Louis, you better make plays or you got to come out the game, okay? That was part of the deal. Dwight Clark, bless his heart, he passed last year. Defense won that game. It got us to our first Super Bowl. That's all that mattered to me.
And all that matters now,
Thank you, guys.
in addition to everything else, once again, Eric Wright, enshrined in the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
And I forgot to introduce Judith. Where are you? Oh, I thought you went to. She'll run out and try to go get coffee on us now. Thank you, guys.